system in place to keep us in chains. By show of hands, who else is sick and tired of the same? 1% trying to keep us small, trying to keep us from getting out. Minimizing the struggles they've caused, saying we're not working hard enough.
We really should stop this fighting. Otherwise, we'll miss the fireworks.
There won't be any fireworks.
And here we go.
And welcome, everybody, to Suck It. I am the great and powerful King of Kings, Prince of all that is awesome, Derek. How the fuck is everybody doing tonight on this amazing December 10th of the horrible year that has been 2020? Woo! We are less than 24 hours away from the charity concert tomorrow night to support Toys for Tots. And I'm lucky as shit to be joined by one of the bands that is actually performing on this concert tomorrow night. I am so stoked for this show. 14 bands and singers, 12 comedians, and just special guest after special guest after special guest. It's going to be a 6 hours minimum stream. Starts at 6 o'clock tomorrow night. Or if you're listening on the way to work, tonight, 6 p.m., December 11th. It's going to be fantastic on the East, 3 p.m. on the West. So many good acts, major headlining comedians such as Eugenia Kuzmina and Sally Mullins and Jessica Winther, and then bands such as Kulik and Black Suit Youth and Stolen Wheelchairs, and my guests tonight. They are a band out of Tennessee. They have just recorded a new covers EP that will drop in February, and their first single off the record will be dropping on December 18th, and it's called The Artist in the Ambulance, originally performed by Thrice. And again, that's going to be released next Friday, the 18th. So without any further ado, let's just get right fucking to it. Please welcome Jake and Chris from the band Rough Dreams.
How's it going?
What is going on, guys? How are you?
Pretty good. Just hanging out.
Hey, I'm going great. Things they couldn't be better. But you know what? Before I get into everything else, I just want to go ahead and say thank you very much for your performance that you guys submitted for tomorrow night's show. And I watched the first 2 minutes of it, just to kind of make sure everything sounded good, everything like that. And someone had said, who the fuck invites a punk band to a Toys for Tots concert?
That was Chris. What did you say? I got something to say. I gave your baby a toy today.
Yeah. I just spout off sometimes if I get behind a microphone, and then I was like, it's actually cool. Like, I mean, you turn punk rock into something, productive, but still, like, I was like, do we need to watch ourselves, like what we say?
Well, so here's how I'm presenting it to the world tomorrow, and I have been saying it for a while. The comedians and the bands that I invited onto the show are in no which way, shape, or form fit for youth consumption. But just because it is a show to support children does not mean it's a show that is made for children. It is made for adults who have money who can donate to support children. That is who this is for.
That's a good point. There's not a lot of It's not tots for tots,
Exactly. No, this is for mommy and daddies who who enjoy some good music and good comedy, and then can donate to support Toys for Tots. So I'm not afraid of what's gonna drop tomorrow. I mean, one of the comedians that I have on the show, who I just mentioned, Sally Mullins, she actually works in porn as well. So she's a comedian and a porn actress. So, she has no filter as well. So there's no way I could have invited her and told her, hey, please work clean. I can't do that shit. Hell no. Well, I'm a comedian too. I can't work clean. So I couldn't expect anybody else to do the same thing.
Rightfully so.
No, I mean, in all reality, it's just going to be a fun time. It's to support the kids. I mean, I've seen countless ads in my area here in Virginia, about you know, the DC, you know, Toys for Tots is, you know, really short this year. And, you know, I know for a fact that because unemployment numbers are so high, you know, I don't want any kid to go without, you know, on Christmas morning. You know what I'm saying? Just one toy or anything else. I mean, so I figured, you know what, with all the bands and all the comedians I've talked to this year, it was a no-brainer. And within 48 hours, it all came together. And then, you know, just as somebody backed out because of some issues that they had, I got an email from Mike with you guys, and I was like, holy shit, that's perfect. It worked out so well. So I had somebody drop out, and then you guys immediately filled that slot, no big deal. And I was like, this is perfect. So again, thank you, because it's gonna be so fucking badass tomorrow.
It was fun to do, so we enjoyed it. So thanks for having us.
Hey, no problem, man. I cannot wait to show it to the world. My OBS is massively filled with tons of shit as of this moment because I spent all day uploading everything into my my system here so I can just broadcast without a problem tomorrow. But it's gonna be fun. I'm really excited.
Cool.
So let's talk about you guys. How's things been going this year? I mean, you know, we were just talking about COVID, you know, beforehand and how shitty it's been for, you know, schools. But, you know, aside from schools and everything else, I mean, it's hit, you know, the entertainment industry the hardest. I mean, let's just be real. I mean, schools are still able to function. Restaurants kind of still are open in and out. But as far as entertainment goes, it's hit the world the hardest. I mean, no Broadway plays, no, you know, ballets, no fucking music, no concerts, no stand-up comedy.
The movie theaters.
I mean, the whole 9 yards. It's taken the biggest hit. So how have you guys kind of coped with that this year?
Well,
I mean, it sucked. It's the longest I personally have gone without performing. I mean, since I was a teenager, so that's been pretty bad, I guess. But I don't know. I mean, just try to keep yourself busy. You know.
Yeah, we were lucky because this was like we had a lot of recording to do anyway. So like during the first, you know, like real lockdown and everything, you know, we were recording, but it was, I mean, I've never recorded like this before. I'm sure Jake would say the same. It was two of us in the studio at a time, masked up the whole time, you know, everything sprayed down and sanitized. And it was, you know, it kept us busy. It was trip after trip, you know, going to do this, you know, which was 3.5 hours away or whatever. But, you know, that's where our label and studio are. And it kept us busy for a while, and then promoting everything.
That was most of the summer.
Yeah, it was most of the summer. Like it kind of filled the void for us. I think in a lot of ways, because if we had no shows and nothing really to work toward, it would have been miserable. Yeah. But the whole thing is, you know, it's like the rules about this whole thing has been like, go to work, but don't go out after, you know, and like that whole thing, it's incredibly frustrating without music and without an outlet and an art and creativity. It makes things even more bleak. You know, you see the signs everywhere you go that tell you what to do and what to, you know, like stay 6 feet apart and all that. And it's like, we're working, we're seeing all this. It's like a dystopia, you know, there's no release. And so I really hope when it's over and everything comes back, that it comes back with a vengeance and people are just ready for, you know, live music again. But, you know, yeah.
Maybe we'll see a renaissance.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are ready for live music again. I mean, if you have paid attention to the other artists, you know, on the major labels, they're announcing tours for Europe, but they're not announcing tours for here. The only thing that's been announced so far for next year, as far as I'm aware, is Aftershock in California. But other than Aftershock, I know, you know, Danny Wimmer Presents hasn't announced anything for, you know, Sonic Temple or the old Rock on the Range or Rocklahoma or Open Air, Houston, or frickin', you know, Detroit or anything else like that. So, I mean, it's like, there's a glimmer of hope because of Aftershock, but that's in October of next year. But at the same time, is anything else going to happen before then? Because right around now is when we're starting to hear about, you know, the world's loudest month of May as far as the festivals go, and it's silent. But yet I'm seeing all these fucking tours for Europe, you know, being announced, and it's like, what are they doing differently that we're not? Why are they able to get their shit open, and why are we still sitting here fucking, you know, floundering, wondering when we can at least go get a fucking beer at a goddamn bar?
Whoa.
You just have every town and state and everything is doing something completely different.
Yep.
So it's like, You don't even, and then those things change weekly. Like here in Knoxville, they'll be like, okay, bars are open, restaurants are open. Next week it'll be like, oh, bars got to close at 11, and then the week after that it's, oh, we're closing them at 10 now, and it's just like, it's impossible to even know what's going on anywhere. Like Chris lives 45 minutes from me, and his town's completely different than Knoxville.
Yeah, see here.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, see here in Virginia, everything's kind of like whatever our governor says, everyone's doing. There's been like no county or city changes. Thankfully, I mean we had just had a change about 3 weeks ago to no mass groupings of 25 or more. And then today he announced nothing more of 10 or more. So now restaurants are going to be affected again. And then like no alcohol after 10 o'clock. And it's a stay-at-home order between 12 and 5 unless you're, considered a major, need. So 12 and 5 a.m. it's a stay-at-home order. So next is going to be even worse.
I know that there's probably some logic behind the 12 and 5 a.m., but it seems like that's when you're least likely to run into other people.
There's no logic, man. There's no logic at all.
I read that today. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, it's the town where I live, like Jake said, it's 45 minutes from Knoxville, but like around here the whole time, I mean, it's basically, I go to the gas station and have my mask on and I'm the weirdo, and that's kind of way that a lot of people around here think. So when you ask what's Europe doing differently, I'm like, well, they're probably all wearing their masks the way that my town's doing it. And we're crushed. We're literally just getting crushed with COVID. I mean, I had it and I've been so careful, but being surrounded
by it. Well, you are a school teacher.
Yeah,
that's true. You are a school teacher. Of course you caught it.
Yeah, it sucked. It really sucks. So
no, I mean, it does. I mean, like I was telling you before, my wife, or my soon-to-be ex-wife, is a teacher as well, and they just closed down the schools here again, effective next Tuesday. They're no more hybrid, so Friday would be their last day of hybrid, and then Monday they don't go to school anyway because it was their planning day, and then so they're going back, distance learning, and besides, we've only done a little bit of distance learning. A little bit of hybrid anyway. Like we opened up K through 2, back in like September, and then or October, and then just this month they opened up 3 through 5, and they've only been at school for 2 weeks before now this is happening.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So my oldest daughter, my youngest daughter, she's 10 and she's in 5th grade, and we chose her to do distance the whole year anyway, so it hasn't affected her. But those kids now are being bounced back and forth and don't know their ass from a hole in the ground, and it sucks. It really does.
Oh no, I absolutely can agree with that. Like we started in August, K through 12 started in August. Some of the kids went to virtual or whatever, but it's shocking. I mean, I don't know how much I can really share, but I can say that like in our county, our cafeteria workers are cooking for more than one school because some of them are gone. Like we don't have special area classes anymore because those special area teachers are needed to fill in for teachers that are out or quarantined. It's insane. It's insane. And every day there's more and more,
That's horrible. I mean, that really sucks. I mean, I just want to find a sense of normalcy. I mean, it sucks all the way around. I mean, going back to the entertainment stuff, I mean, there's nothing we can really, talk about the school stuff any further. But, last year, just for people's own mental health, you know what I'm saying? Being able to do shit. Last year I went to 10 concerts, and this year I've been to none. And, and that's my outlet. I mean, as somebody who's bipolar and, has severe anxiety and all this other stuff, that's my outlet. You know what I'm saying? I come down here every day, and I was just talking to Jake before the show a little bit. I'm always down here early in my studio because I'm listening to music and I'm, venting down. I'm getting ready for the show and just, getting my mind right. But you know what? I want to go see Ice Nine Kills perform. I want to go see, Falling in Reverse. I want to go see all these bands that I've missed over the last year. The last show I went to was Slipknot last year with Volbeat, and that was the last one. That was in September. That was the day before Labor Day. So it's been over a year since I've been to a concert, and it sucks. It just really does, because I need that outlet. I'm stuck at home all day. This is my job. This is the only job I have. So if I didn't have, being able to talk to you guys on a nightly basis, or other, bands, I would lose my shit. I mean, to be totally honest with you, I mean, it's so mentally taxing to know that, I'm trying to make a game out of it when I go out, but at the same time, it's like, I just want to get out and come back. I mean, it's stupid. This whole thing is fucking stupid. I wish.
Agreed.
Because I feel,
It's stupid.
yeah, because we're supposed to be the strongest country in the goddamn world, and yet we're looking like a bunch of fucking, third world assholes, throughout this whole entire thing. And it just really sucks, because people are more worried about themselves than they are other people. You can't make me wear a mask because, I don't care if I get it. Well, what if you give it to if you don't get it, or if you get it and you have no symptoms, what if you give it to your grandma and she dies? How are you going to feel about that? Well, that's my right. That's my personal choice. Okay, well, then let's talk about abortion then. Oh, nope, we can't talk about that. So it's so contradictory. I hate this whole shit. It's so bad.
Yeah. It wouldn't be so bad if you could just get on stage and yell about it.
Exactly.
That's like the one thing, like, fuck.
I mean, I'm looking forward to them. I haven't done, because through this whole pandemic, I've done a bunch of Zoom shows as far as comedy goes. And they're fun, they're exciting, and they're different. But I haven't done one in like a month and a half, 2 months. So tomorrow I'm doing a set, as well, because all the other comedians were like, well, if you want me to do it, you got to do it too. I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm looking forward to doing a set tomorrow. It's like, finally I get to, now, granted, I do jokes and I fuck around on here all the time, but there's nothing like being able to go up there and do some stand-up comedy. So I'm like, I'm so ready for tomorrow. I mean, I'm excited because of the, the event itself, but, selfishly, I'm just excited to perform a set.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that's selfish. That's,
Not at all.
it's more, it's
It's
more
a necessity.
Yeah, it really is. That's true. Yeah.
It really is. I mean, so, you guys, so did you guys have the idea for the covers EP prior to COVID?
That was actually Peter from our label's idea.
Okay.
Because we'd finished writing the album. Okay, so basically we played the last show that we played, March 3rd, was actually my birthday. We played that show, and then everything locked down like 2 weeks later.
Yep.
And like the day before lockdown, we were finishing up demoing in Chris's basement, demoing the album. And the next day they're like, you can't leave your home. And so when they opened back up, we were set to go record the new full length, and our label was like, hey, why don't we record a covers EP at the same time, so when everything's done, you can release the covers EP as kind of like a buffer, to put some new content out there, as opposed to releasing this album that we just busted our ass writing, releasing it in a year that we can't go out and tour off of it. And the covers EP was just an idea to extend the time period, between putting out the full length album. So it's kind of just like, we just went in and recorded the covers with the album at the same time, just to have more stuff to release.
And we started off with, we ended up with just 5 songs for the actual EP, but the initial idea was, just do a whole, album's worth. And,
I think we learned like 12 or 13 songs.
Yeah,
like
we've
12
got
or 13 songs originally.
Like nobody's ever heard us play, and it's not ever going to be recorded, but we can break it out at a moment's notice. It's kind of cool because it that was another thing to work on. Learn these covers. Like some of them, I will say, like, were not easy. Like it took some time to sit down and actually learn like all the guitar stuff and all that, especially songs I wasn't like familiar with. Like honestly, The Artist in the Ambulance, like this song took me so long. I was watching YouTube videos and going down to like half speed, watching the guitar work and everything. And it was just like something to focus on and something to care about, which just kind of like was great, because there's some, days there where it's just like, there's nothing going on. It's just miserable. What am I doing? You know, everything's shut down. Well, work on this. It's something that you see the progress, and it's a uplifting thing, you know?
So you took the hard way out. You didn't go and Google some taps for that song. You just went ahead and watched videos of it. I admire that because that's how I learned how to play guitar. Back in the 90s when I learned how to play guitar, I learned to play listening off of Pearl Jam 10. That was how I, you know, just listening to, you know, Jeremy and, you know, Even Flow over and over and over again until I finally got it right and I figured it out. But it took me over a year to do that. So
oh yeah, that's not easy stuff to learn. Like those, like Pearl Jam is not. It's not the Ramones. I mean, I love the Ramones so much, but like learning Pearl Jam songs is hard. Like I started off with honestly, like when I was in high school. It's okay. This is weird because it's almost like a quarantine back then. I got mono, but I got this really bad case of mono when I was a freshman in high school, and my spleen apparently like was going to rupture if I had moved too much, so I couldn't go to school. So I was at home. And I had my first guitar and Screeching Weasel's Boogada 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 album, and just sat there. And that's how I learned to really play guitar and learn songs, was listening to that day after day with nothing else to do. Yeah. So if anything, I guess this is like quarantine has like reminded me of, you know, my roots. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Ben from Breaking Benjamin, that's how he learned how to play guitar as well. But he did it off of Nirvana, which I think is pretty cool. Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of people learn that way. But luckily for me, I did have some music theory because I played clarinet and, you know, in the band when I was in elementary school and middle school. So I had some music theory, and it was easy to, you know, transition. So I had a little bit of an easier time, but it was still a fucking bitch. But I love it. I still play it today, but I miss, you know, that I miss the crowd. You know, the crowd being, you know,
definitely
the crowd of a comedy show is fantastic. Don't get me wrong, but you know that first chord, you know, the lights go out and then you guys walk up on stage and they can, you know, just to see the shadow, or if you're behind a curtain, they see the shadows or whatever, and all of a sudden that first fucking chord and then that eruption just is unparalleled. I was also a professional wrestler for 12 years, and you know, once I started getting my name, I really started to have that same feeling from performing in front of 15,000 people, you know, as a musician, to coming and doing that. I started to get that same feeling, and it's just a rush that, again, you can't even explain. I mean, it's like an orgasm, like exemplified to the fifth power. I mean, it's just something that's unparalleled. It's ridiculous.
Back to the pro wrestling. Is that where the Suck It podcast came from?
Actually, no.
I got 2 words for you.
To be totally honest with you, no. So here's where Suck It comes from. So like I was telling you before, I'm bipolar and I have anxiety, and I also suffer from PTSD. And growing up in the 90s as a dude, you know, we were always told you weren't allowed to have depression. You weren't allowed to be depressed. It's for girls. Don't worry about that. So just suck it up and move on. So my response to them has always been, well, suck it. You don't know what I'm going through. So don't tell me to suck it up. So my response to them has always been that. So this show is a place for anyone who ever tells you to suck it up in life. Come here and tell them to suck it.
And get behind that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Suck it.
For sure.
Yeah. But no, I mean, a lot of people actually do ask me that. But no, it has nothing to do with that at all. However, you know, that would be funny, though. But no. I would lie to Shawn Michaels to have him come on. Like, yeah, I named my show after you.
The showstopper.
Exactly. Mr. WrestleMania. But no, I mean, but yeah, I did that for 12 years. But again, that, you know, that feeling, you know, being able to have that crowd control. And as soon as they hear your music, they just fucking erupt. But I mean, like I said, the only thing that's ever felt better than that was that time I was at House of Blues and we were opening up for Fuel. And it was just sick and insane. I mean, just that echo at the House of Blues in Orlando, just, I never felt anything like that. Never, ever. And I'll probably never will again, but damn it, it's awesome.
Yeah,
that would be a good feeling for sure.
Yeah. I was how old was I? 20? 19, 20? Yeah, something like that. 19. I think I was 19. But yeah, I mean, so, you know, but what I like about what you guys just said too is the fact that you guys are releasing that buffer. The covers EP, which I really, really like. Because one of the things that I've been saying to a lot of these indie bands this year, even the ones that are, signed to indie labels, is the fact that a lot of the major label bands have that same thought of, why are we going to release this new album right now when we can't support it? However, a lot of the indie bands are still releasing music, or they're doing what you're doing and releasing that buffer, whether it be a live album or just a covers EP, or just them sitting down and doing an acoustic, 3-song acoustic EP of covers of their own songs. And I like that, because next year, when Avenged Sevenfold maybe drops their new album after, it's been 3 years since they released The Stage, people are going to be like, well, where were you last year when we needed you the most? And indie bands aren't thinking like that. They're still releasing stuff and doing other stuff, and they're leveling the playing field with the major artists. And you guys are standing out, because on a Friday or a Tuesday, you guys don't have to worry about competing with the major bands releasing a single or releasing an album or an EP. You guys are just out there competing with other indie bands who everybody supports everybody. And it's fucking phenomenal. And I'm just loving what the indie scene has done this year. It's really been awesome. I have discovered so much good music because of the indie bands, being out there, out in front of everything, and the major labels artists not doing anything. I know Taylor Swift released an album this year, and a couple others did, but it's not the same. It's not the same, as what it used to be.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. It's a good time to do as much as you can, because, I look back, like in 2019, I had, my top 20 list, like no problem, for the year. This year, I was looking back on 2020 and I was like, man, I really can't put together like a top 20 list. There's like so many bands that I like that have put out, really great stuff. And I hate to, I don't know, I don't want to exclude people or anything like that, but like it's been like definitely a shift. It's like bands that I know and like friends that I have that have put out stuff. It's not like some big names, there've been a couple for sure, but yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely hard to put together a top 10. There just wasn't a lot to choose from, at least stuff that I follow and stuff that I like a couple of my favorite bands put out records this year, which was
cool. You got the biggest names that would have been on, like Brian Fallon, Lawrence Arms, other than that, and there's the Machine Gun Kelly thing, which honestly same, like that was what 2020 needs, like some big name shifting what they do to like something that's more I don't know, the appeal that it's going to have is not his normal crowd. And it's going to get, shit on, of course, because
it's got shit on, but
punk rock. But
at the same time,
old head punkers that shit on.
People are eating it up. People it's
shit
on, people are eating it up. They're enjoying it too, so they're shitting on it while they're liking it. It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah,
I've
never even heard his rap songs, but I've listened to that new Blink-182 sounding album start to finish probably 20 times. Like, couldn't even tell you one of his rap songs.
Yeah, me neither. I feel the same. But he's a fucking genius, because I think that whole thing that he did with Eminem was planned from the get-go, because I don't think he ever wanted to be a rapper. He just kind of got stuck in that genre, and he was like, how can I get out? Oh, let me go ahead and pick beef with the biggest bully on the yard. And then he did that, and then and then he got his name in people's mouths, and then he comes out with his pop punk album, and now people are listening to him like ever before. That was something that we needed this year. But then at the same time, about a month ago, Miley Cyrus did that charity concert for that fucking venue in California. I can't think of what it's called. But she did a cover of the Cranberry Zombie. And like,
I heard that.
Oh my God. That chick was made for fucking rock. Like, she needs to come over to the dark side. Holy shit.
She's making a rock record.
She just put a new album out.
Well,
it's out.
So the album that she's dropping. Yeah. Well, she dropped that album, and it's supposed to sound very, I haven't listened to it yet, but it's supposed to sound very, Joan Jett-y. And then she's also in the process right now, I found this out, of working on a Metallica covers album.
Yeah, I've heard that too. Yep. I've heard a couple of the songs off of her new album, and they're pretty good, and they're kind of rocking. So it's like, I'm all about these pop artists and these rap artists going rock, because rock and roll has been dying for years. Let's get real.
It has
been dying.
But it hasn't been for a lack of artistry. You know, over the last 10...
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, I mean, over the last 10, 15, 20 years, I mean, some of the best bands that I've ever heard have come out. It's the fucking fan base. It's the people, because they're so inundated with what the music industry, what BMI or Sony or all the other Capitol Records and all these other people are just telling them to do. Listen to this. This is what you must buy. And they eat it up. But yet the moment, anyone tries to do anything different, it's like, oh, no, we can't. This person's over here saying we should listen to this and listen to this only. But yet then you have people like, all these other artists that are coming out and saying, I'm a metal guy. I love rock. I love metal. But they play that other type of music. So their fans say, well, just because they listen to it doesn't mean I have to too. Well, he's obviously promoting it. Let's do something about that. Whenever you listen to a freaking interview with Post Malone and his freaking, tour bus, he's had Megadeth blaring or Anthrax blaring, and you can barely hear what he's saying because he's got fucking metal going on. So his fans, hey, take a cue on what's going on there. I mean, his fans are so fucking clueless they didn't even know who fucking Ozzy Osbourne was last year when he released that damn song.
Like, who's this old guy he's singing with?
Post Malone just made Ozzy Osbourne famous. No, I'm sorry, he was that way before.
Yeah. Woof.
Yeah. But I mean, the rock scene, yeah, you're right, it has been dying. But the moment this is another thing that Europe gets right, you go across the pond, it's their lifeblood. I mean, so many good...
Oh, they love it over there.
They love it over there. What they have at Download Fest in England or Rock am Ring in Germany or the other ones they have like in Russia and shit like that, fitting 200,000 people in a freaking, that small of a space or that big of a space. We can't get that done here. I mean, even our biggest one, Coachella doesn't even bring out that many people. And that's not even a rock fest. But I'm just saying, it's like, even... go to Sonic Temple or the old Rock on the Range, whatever you want to call it, which is the biggest one as far as rock goes, maybe 50, 60,000 people. But you jump across the pound, 150, 200,000 people, easy. They're coming across the world for 3 or 4 days and just don't care.
Yeah.
It just boggles my mind.
They definitely have a better appreciation over there. For rock, at least.
They do, and I don't get why. I don't get why we can't get on that same bandwagon.
We're spoiled, I guess. I don't know. It makes no sense to me.
I think there's been a tendency I don't know, things become like niche and then they become like extreme. And it loses people, and you have to be a part of like an exclusive kind of thing to get it almost. And that, like, when you reach that point where, this is, you're too pedestrian to listen to this band or whatever. It's just off-putting. And that's another good thing about like big names putting things out there is like, normies or whatever, like are going to start listening to rock again and maybe going to shows again. Whereas, in America, that's a big thing. It's like we're a very cultural place, but in Europe maybe it's a little different where it's just like, oh, this sounds good to me, I like it. Whereas here it's like, oh, can I like this? Will my peers like be okay with this? It seems like there's a lot of peer pressure in music, and like that's why bands kind of just like do things that get more and more progressive but also lose more and more people or something. I don't know, but that's just just like music again. Let's make music great again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Make music great again.
But at the same time, I think where we kind of falter as well, and I think some of the major rock bands out there need to take a page out of the like the rap and R&B playbook, is that if I'm a major rapper, right? Let's call me Two Dick Chains. I don't know. If I'm signed to a major label, I have this major fucking crew with me all the time, and they might rap, they might not. But you know what? If they rap, I'm gonna do everything. We're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna invite them on stage. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. They're gonna open for me, and I'm gonna push them, and I'm gonna make an album for them, and blah blah blah. They do that. On the rock side, you don't hear about that very often. The last time I remember hearing about it was with Zoltan from fucking Five Finger Death Punch with Bad Wolves. But other than that, I mean, I don't see it happening as often as I should. And I think that's one of our biggest problems is when they make it big. You know, when was the last time Avenged Sevenfold pushed a younger band? When was the last time Metallica pushed a younger band? When was the last time
they
Megadeth?
don't do it
exactly? Exactly.
And it's not necessarily the bands. That's definitely a music industry thing. That's your booking agents and all that stuff. They're in control of that. I'm sure, you know, a band like the size of Metallica doesn't even know who's going to be going out on tour with them. You know,
Yeah.
Like that's all decided by your booking agents and stuff.
Correct.
And, yeah, like you would think, oh, you know, I've got these couple buddies in this band that just broke. You know, it'd be really cool if they took our band out on tour. You know, they can't even do that. That's just not their call, and that's not how it is with rap. They're like, this is my fucking boy. He's coming.
Yeah.
You know,
but
like,
why do they get that privilege and we don't? Is my question.
because they don't give a fuck.
Exactly.
I think it's.
I don't know.
I think it starts from the bottom level up though. Like, you know, I you know, rock. I don't know about, but like in the punk rock world, it's not a very supportive scene. Like they're more ready to
It turns
tear
back
somebody
on you.
down. Then they're ready to like destroy their idols at the first like sign of anything. I mean, you know, oh, you sold out. Oh, your songs are slower. Oh, you know, you had just so many different things they're ready to tear you down for. Whereas rap is like, dude, you're making steps. Hell yeah. You know,
Yep.
like they're so supportive. They're not ready to cut your throat. I mean, they want to push. They're like sharpening steel with steel. You know, they get better. Like do our art in the best possible way.
Yep.
Don't worry about making a misstep, and we're gonna throw you out. You know, to the wolves. You know, and it's not the way that they operate.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember back in the '90s, and you guys might have heard this or maybe not, but Alice in Chains did their MTV Unplugged. And Metallica showed up there. This was before they released Load. It was in between Black and Load. And
I remember this. Yep.
Jerry Cantrell wrote on his acoustic guitar, "Friends don't let friends cut their hair," because that was kind of like their re-debut. That, you know, whatever. And that's the kind of shit that you're talking about. I mean, they didn't even know what they were doing. All they saw was, you know, James Hetfield and, you know, Lars, everybody with short hair, and they're like, oh, fuck this. Now they're changing who they are. Now, obviously, they did change who they were for Load, but they jumped their shit automatically just because they cut their hair.
Yeah, that's rock fans for you right there. Rock and punk rock will definitely, the minute your band, if you have like a fan base and that fan base likes your band, the minute you decide to do something different, you better hope they all love it, because if they don't love it, they're just like, oh, fuck you, I hate this band now. And then like they just turn their back on you. And I've never understood that. I have never understood that about people that are, you know, so supportive of their indie and DIY punk scene. You know, they're like, yeah, you know, but the minute you do something that they don't like, they're just like, or the minute your band starts doing well, they're like, you know, and it's insane. Like that's always blown my mind about the rock and the punk rock music world. Is just makes no sense to me.
It doesn't make any sense to me either, because, you know, one of the biggest critiques that I've always seen too, and it goes back to what you were saying, you know, on this side of the music industry, you know, rock, there's 5,281 million, you know, fucking subgenres of this damn music, and everyone picks their little niches that they like. Oh, that's not death metal, that's metalcore, I won't listen to it. Or that's not this, I won't listen to it. It's like they pick all these little, why can't it just be, you know, rock, punk, metal? Why do we have to have 50 fucking different genres in between there too? You know,
I don't know.
It's so like redonkulous. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. And like, these fans are so damn hard-headed, they can't understand the difference between, you know, oh, well, they were metalcore, now all of a sudden they're starting to drift towards, you know, more towards, you know, thrash. I can't listen to them anymore. It's like, what does it matter? and the bands that are super eclectic, like Volbeat, who has everything from country sounding songs to hardcore metal songs, can't have a niche, but then their fans don't branch out to other genres. It's like, oh well, I just listen to Volbeat because they're really cool, but those other bands that sound like that I don't listen to. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I like Volbeat. They actually have a cover of what's Teenage Bottle Rocket. They covered a Teenage Bottle Rocket song on one of their albums.
Yes.
They took Teenage Bottle Rocket on tour. I read that and I was like, huh. And then I listened to the song. I'm like, yeah, it's awesome. That seems like a big band throwing a small band a bone right there.
Yeah, but then at the same time, with Slipknot last year, speaking of Volbeat, so the road tour that they did was Slipknot, Volbeat, Gojira, and Behemoth. So it was like this weird, Behemoth straight up death metal, and then Gojira is a weird type of hardcore metal, and then you got Volbeat, and then you jumped into Slipknot. It was a weird combination, but I really liked it, and I really and Corey Taylor said he picked the bands out personally, so I try to believe what he says because he's a god, but so I think that's kind of cool too. So there's some that are supporting each other, but there's only if they're as big as they are.
Yeah, I mean, that's for sure, which is unfortunate.
It is. It's really unfortunate. I would really love to see, I can't even, it just boggles my mind because there's so much good stuff out there. And if somebody would just latch on to one of them and just say, hey, I know you guys can make it. Let's do it. They'll be great. Or I'm sick and tired of freaking, metal magazines, claiming that we got the next Metallica, because that's like the death kiss, like.
Oh yeah, that's when fans turn on Trivium.
That was exactly what I was going to say.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm actually from the Orlando area originally. Well, I'm from Ohio, but I moved to Orlando when I was 7. So technically Florida's home. And Matt and everybody all went to a high school that was my rival high school. So they went to Lake Brantley High School, and my ex-girlfriend was in the band with Matt and Travis, their original drummer. So when they first broke into, before that, they used to, all over Orlando all the time. I watched them all the time. And then when they got signed by Roadrunner, I went on a tour with them and stuff like that, just hanging out because I thought it was cool. So I went on took a 2-week vacation and just traveled with them and my ex-girlfriend at the time. Well, my girlfriend at the time, my ex now, but and it was just so much cool. And then all of a sudden, as soon as Ascendancy got released, everyone, Metal Hammer and all this other ones are sitting there saying the next Metallica, and the fans started hating on them. And they've picked up steam again, thank God, because Matt is a freaking genius on that guitar, and he sings so well. But, and then that poor guy had what happened with him with his voice, was it 3 years ago, with that album that he only sung on, and they shit all over that. So it's like, fans are so fickle. It's ridiculous.
It's very fickle. But I think going back to what we said just a minute ago, like with Volbeat, I didn't realize that Volbeat had taken Teenage Bottle Rocket on tour because I don't know the exact timeline on this, but I know Teenage Bottle Rocket paid it forward, if the timeline's correct here, because they did an entire covers album of bands that had great songs, but had less than 150 listeners on Spotify or something, or on YouTube or whatever. Just unknown bands with great songs, and it was called Stealing the Covers or something, and just brought attention to all these tiny bands, so it works its way down, and that's what we need. We need that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Then at the same time, going back to the fans, if you're going to buy a ticket to go see 4 bands, go watch all 4 bands. Don't buy a ticket just for one band. I remember last year I saw at there's a place here in where is it? I don't know, somewhere in Maryland. I can't remember. But it was Falling in Reverse, Ice Nine Kills, New Year's Day, and somebody else. I can't remember what it was. See, I'm falling into that same trap. But when I got there just what New Year's Day opened the whole thing up, and she's pretty cool. I mean, they're pretty decent band. But I got there, there's maybe 15, 20 people there. And then when whoever was on next, I feel so bad. Was on next, started to fill up a little bit more, and then it packed out for Ice Nine Kills. And then as soon as Ronnie Radke rocked on fucking stage, the Ice Nine Kills fans all left, and just I stayed back and watched. But it was just the females that stuck around to watch Falling in Reverse. I was like, that sucks. I mean,
Yeah.
I get it. Most dudes hate Ronnie Radke. He's a fucking prick. I get it. But at the same time, that if you bought a ticket to go see all four bands, stay for all four bands.
Yeah, why not stay?
Yeah, it's kind of like being on a way smaller level. Like, I hope this. Okay, I'm not trying to call people out. I hope this stops after quarantine and COVID and all this, because one thing, like, you get a lot of people, like, when you're playing a show, a lot of your friends being like, "Hey, when do you guys go on? I just want to show up for your set." And it's like, dude, if we're playing with these other bands, like, just please come for everybody. Like, let's make it an evening,
Yeah.
And it's on a much larger scale what you're talking about. But going back to the other thing, it's like all the females stayed to watch him. But I remember way back, there was the dude who ran Lookout Records knew to sign Green Day because it was all girls that wanted to watch them play. The dude would disappear. He's like, no, this is going to be my best move ever. Sign Green Day. And that made Lookout Records,
Yeah.
And so, maybe guys are just, there's something going on in our brain that's like, oh, tear this down, tear that down. Maybe we should start listening to the women again. I don't know.
To be honest with you, like, so when you say start listening to the women again, the first thing I think of is women in rock, because women in rock right now are leading the charge. Whether it's Lizzie Hale from Hailstorm, whether it's Tatiana from Ginger, or Emily from September Morning, or Maria from In This Moment. I mean, there's so many strong, badass female. The lead singer, two lead singers from Butcher Babies. I mean, there's so many strong females in rock right now that are just leading the charge, and I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. It's amazing to watch.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's something I've always wanted to see, but I've never seen it before, and I'm so glad it's happening now.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite bands right now. I actually went to high school with a singer. They're called War on Women, and they fucking shred. And she gets up there and she's just a badass, and it's like, hell yeah, Yeah. I mean, it's like they rip like propaganda, but like there's just something so powerful about what they're doing. Like, I mean, I love it. I love that that's happening, going on.
Yeah. Again, the women in rock movement is huge, and I'm loving it. Overall, I mean, I'm just absolutely loving it. I mean, my favorite right now has got to be, Tatiana from Ginger. I mean, have you guys listened to Ginger at all?
I'm not familiar with them.
So they're from the Czech Republic. However, they moved to LA a couple years ago, and I check them out. They're pretty fucking badass. They spell it with the J's, so it's Jinjer. And they are just sick. Like, absolute. Like, this lady has no vocal training at all, and probably has one of the best voices out there in rock today. I'm talking like,
I'll check them out.
Yeah, I mean, she rivals Lizzie Hale and Amy Lee of Evanescence. I mean, that's how good she is. It's amazing.
Yeah, I would say, you said she has no vocal training. Like, I think, a lot of times that's a plus. Like, you find your own voice.
Yep.
Which that's like, the personality in vocals means so much more than the ability in vocals, in my opinion. Like, yeah, some people are like, technically, oh yeah, they're so good at singing. That's awesome. Good for them. but having that personality or just being able to pronounce a word a certain way that hooks you, man, that means everything. That's what, like, Blink-182, man. Nobody's going to argue that those guys are amazing vocalists, but the way they're, like, you know, in that chorus of like a voice inside my head. It's like,
Hello
dude,
there.
everybody loves that. It wins.
The same thing with Dexter from Offspring. I mean,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
got pipes.
he does,
Dexter is
but
sick. Yeah,
but
he's-
he developed them over the years. When they first
Yeah.
dropped, you know, Bad Habit and all that other stuff back in the early '90s, it was okay. But then as time went on, I don't know if he was hiding his good singing voice or not. But those first couple records were as far as his vocals go, and all of a sudden he just transformed into this fucking music machine. So yeah, I
He's
don't.
hard. He's hard to sing along to. Like
is.
it's hard
Oh,
to sing some
yeah.
Offspring.
But maybe going back to what we said a minute ago, once again, is like the first two albums, the self-titled and Ignition, were meant for a punk rock crowd.
They were.
You know, and you don't want to sound, lame. You want to sing like the punk rock people sing. After that, he's just like, fuck it, I'll sing like I want to sing. And that's when it became great.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen them twice in concert, and they're just amazing. Amazing. One of my favorites
I've
of all
seen
time.
him once. I saw him one time, like at a Warped Tour, maybe like 2002 or so, something like that. And I really didn't care, that they were playing. Like I was kind of over them. Like I liked them in middle school, but I just happened to go. I was like, I'll go watch them play, and I was blown away. I'm like, oh yeah, this is the Offspring. Like they're one of the biggest rock bands of all time.
Yeah.
Like. Of course they're going to be good. And they were one of the best live bands I'd ever seen. And I'm like, I'm really glad that I wasn't too pretentious to not watch, because I would have felt like an idiot.
Yeah.
Yep.
As far as like, that's definitely for a lot of people, I would say they're on the bucket list of, for tour bands, to see live. There's only one bucket list that I can think of off the top of my head that I have not seen yet. And I've got to see him, and that's Foo Fighters.
Seen them twice. They're great.
See,
Love Foo
that's
Fighters.
bucket list for me. I want to see Foo Fighters. So I've tried so many different times. I'll always get, to Ticketmaster or, a day late and they're sold out or whatever the case might be. And I've never had a chance to see him, but I need to see him. Nick, that is.
No, I'm with you, Derek. I'm zero, and I would love to. Yeah,
Dude.
totally.
I saw him in '99 with Red Hot Chili Peppers. So that would have been the Californication tour.
Yep.
And I saw, Foo Fighters opened at an amphitheater in Nashville, and I went to it, and Peter Frampton got on stage with Foo Fighters, and they covered "Show Me the Way,"
Oh, wow.
and that was awesome. 'Cause Peter Frampton lived in Franklin, Tennessee. It was like 15 miles from Nashville,
Yeah.
and so he was there at the show, got on stage, and they covered that with him. It was amazing, and so that was the first time I saw Foo Fighters, and I saw him again in maybe '03 when the One by One album came out,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a killer bill. Like the opening band was Cave In, and Cave In, and then what's Tim Armstrong and Travis Barker's
Transplants.
project?
Transplants.
Yeah,
Transplants.
it was Cave In, Transplants, and Foo Fighters, and it was awesome. Like that, like they're an incredible band to see live. Like I can't imagine going to see them now because you got to pay like a few $100s for a ticket. I managed to be able to see them when the ticket was like $40.
Yeah. I mean, here where I'm at, because Dave Grohl's from this area in Virginia where I'm at. So, I would love to see him in front of the whole hometown crowd and just go ape
That'd be
shit.
sick.
Oh my God. So yeah, that's on my bucket list. I only have a handful of bands that I have not seen yet that are on my bucket list, and I know that I'll add more to it. But right now, it's number one is Foo Fighters. Number two is Lamb of God. I have not had a
Right
chance
on.
to see them yet either.
I'd say my number one band that's one of my top 5 all-time favorite bands that I've never seen is Deftones. I've still never seen Deftones.
I've seen them once.
And I've had an opportunity and I just didn't do it, and I hate myself for it. But I want to see Deftones, and I've never seen Hum, and I love Hum. Like, those are two of my favorite bands. Both put out records this year. Also, the best two albums of the year. I'd say the Deftones' new album is the best album of the year, and the new Hum album, the second best album of the year. And those are two bands that are my favorite bands I've never seen. So those are my bucket list.
The one time I
Right
saw
there.
Deftones, they did a cover of "Say It Ain't So" by Weezer.
Wow.
I've seen YouTube videos. Of that.
I thought it was the greatest thing I ever saw in my life.
That's awesome.
Chris, who's your bucket list?
I was actually, my brain was turning, circles trying to figure this out.
I could see you do it. I could see you thinking.
All I could, yeah, that's what I was doing, big time. It's really hard to say. All my bucket list bands don't exist, and all I keep thinking, I keep going back to when one of my best friends saw the Ramones, and he invited me to go. It was like a Lollapalooza, and I was like, I don't want to go to Lollapalooza. And then the Ramones played, and he saw them, and I didn't, and that sucked. As far as bucket list bands right now, I would say, I can't say. I don't have a bucket list, man. I'm never gonna die.
There's got to be somebody, man. There's got to be one. Come on. I don't care. There's nobody I care to see. Come on, Chris.
No,
There's gotta be
I
one.
care. There's so many bands I really would love to see, but they're I don't know. I really want to see that band, Chins from France. They're power violence kind of stuff, but they're doing it in an insane way that I've never heard it done before. And I'm just like, dude, I would love to see how this translates to a live show. I've seen all my bucket list bands. I've seen Weird Al. I've seen, that's honestly for a long time. Just and Weird Al did the best thing ever, man. He didn't cover. I'm sorry. He played Albuquerque in its entirety, that 11-minute song about going to Albuquerque, New Mexico, the whole song. And it just I was just a smiling goon for the entire 11 minutes. It was great. So,
Your inner dork was just dancing.
I was, yeah. The inner and outer dork.
Yeah.
Inner outer dork.
Yeah.
Your inner
Dolls.
dweeb.
All right, I got a bucket list band. But all right, so this is really bucket list because I don't think they'd ever play what I wanted them to play. But if Goo Goo Dolls did a show where they just played their songs from before 2000, that would be my bucket list.
That would be great because I just saw them and they did not play anything. I think the oldest thing they played was Name from Boy Named Goo, but they didn't.
I'd be happy.
Yeah, they didn't play anything but ballads, dude.
Yeah, I think I agree with that as far as them never playing that because I just watched them on Thanksgiving Day on the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. So when they're playing Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, you know that they've forgotten about their roots.
And their roots
They're
are
not gonna play
Metal
Long Way
Blade
Down.
Records, dude. They were on Metal Blade.
Yep.
Come on. I mean, they were the
I can
only
listen-
pop punk band on Metal Blade, but
I literally listen to Superstar Car Wash or Boy Named Goo from start to finish at least once a month. One of those albums gets listened to by me once a month. I love those two records, man.
Really?
They rock.
yeah, dude, I put on.
They wrote all the songs. They wrote the songs that the Replacements wish they could have written.
Yeah.
On those old records.
I can see that.
Yeah.
It's,
I said it. I mean it. I love the Replacements.
I was
the Replacements
never
have a lot of duds.
Yeah, I was never a hardcore Goo Goo Dolls guy. They were kind of like a guilty pleasure.
hardcore and Goo Goo Dolls don't go together.
That's true. Okay, so I was never. Okay, let me rephrase that. I was never really a Goo Goo Dolls fan. Period. There was a couple songs that I liked, but I was. They were always like a guilty pleasure type band because I've always been that hard rock metal guy. But then I my other guilty pleasure band is like Paramore. Paramore's
Paramore's good.
Yeah,
Hey,
I like,
another Tennessee band right there.
Yep.
Tennessee represent.
Yeah, I could watch Haley Williams sing all day long. That is a
I like
fine
Paramore
woman.
after the cool Paramore. When Paramore went pop, I think those are some of the best pop rock songs I've ever heard.
Oh yeah.
That
Living in the
Butterfly
Real World
song or
whatever,
something.
it's sick.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's a good song.
some of their pop punk stuff was really really fun. I loved it. But it was I mean, They were great. You know, still are, but I think it's more she does more solo stuff now. But I do miss Paramore. They were definitely a guilty pleasure band because again I could watch Haley
feel
Williams.
guilty.
No, I could watch Haley Williams perform all day long. That is a fine woman right there. But yeah, I mean, yeah, the only other bucket list band I would say would be Rage.
Okay, yeah, that's.
I saw Rage. I saw Rage in high school.
Oh, son of a bitch.
Yeah, man.
So you've got two of my bucket lists you've seen. God damn it.
Dude, I saw Rage in '99 with the opening band was a surprise guest, right? So it was Rage and Gangstar, the hip hop group.
Yeah. That
was listed on the bill with special guest, and the special guest was fucking Anti-Flag.
Nice.
Whoa.
It was so awesome. Like we had no idea. I was with probably 10 buddies, and we all just had nosebleed seats in this huge arena in Nashville. And we were all the way at the top, just sitting there. And all of a sudden, Anti-Flag came out, and we're just like, what? It was awesome.
Dude, talk about
incredible.
Throwing that bone, man. Like we were saying earlier, dude, that is massive. And then Tom Morello produced Anti-Flags.
Yeah. That's a definite example of a big band throwing a smaller band a bone, because at that point in time, Anti-Flag was definitely, I had seen them a year before that in Nashville, and there were maybe 40 people at that show. So to throw a band of that size on an arena tour with one of the biggest bands in the world at the time, that's a nice move by a band to do that.
Oh yeah,
I guarantee you they handpicked Anti-Flag because of what they stood for, and all the politics and all just everything they stood for. I guarantee they were like, that band right there, we're taking that band.
Yeah. And that's kind of like I was mentioning earlier with Zoltan from Five Finger and Bad Wolves. I mean, I saw them. It was who was it? It was Nothing More, Bad Wolves, Five Finger, and Breaking Benjamin. So that was a pretty interesting concert right there. That was all over the place.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. And Breaking Benjamin blew Five Finger out of the water, but they did such a good job. They, at one point, I've never seen anything like this before, so I got to give Ben and the crew a whole fucking, bow down on this. For 20 minutes of their set, all they did was covers, and each person in the band took turns singing the song. It was a song that they personally chose. So,
that's cool. And
all of them got to sing one song, and Ben would just kind of fade into the background and not really care. And it was, Ben chose Smells Like Teen Spirit, and then they did a couple other ones, and it was really fucking cool. So I give that a bunch of credit to where they did something like that. But again, back to the
that's a really cool idea right there.
Yeah, that's rad.
Yeah, but like I said, what Zoltan does is for Bad Wolves is, like I said, and the same thing that Tom Morello did for them was, again, it's not something that you see all the time, but then it's just one of those things that just, I wish it happened more, because there's so many good bands that just deserve some better press. And, I had that's why, I had the opportunity to bring on some nationally signed acts, because I had a bunch of different people on the show for tomorrow's show, but I said, no, I'm doing only indie acts, for that sole purpose.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, when I first had the idea, I reached out to all the guys that I've talked to so far from Earshot Media, and I reached out directly to Mike, and I said, hey, I talked to these guys. They're all good, but anybody else that you can get on, let's do it. And he grabbed onto it like fucking white on rice and made it happen. So I'm really, really, really happy with what's going to happen tomorrow. So
yeah, I'm excited to sit down and watch it tomorrow night.
Yeah, if I have it planned out correctly, you guys are closing out the show.
Oh, We
Hey.
headlining it. Oh,
Yeah, headlining. Hey,
headlining.
Yeah, you
Love
guys. So in the last hour, I have a comedian by the name of Phil Johnson, and then you guys are right after him, and you guys close out the show.
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch that because I have no plans tomorrow specifically to be able to do that.
So yeah,
I'm
that
excited.
should be somewhere around. You guys are an hour behind me, so 10:30 to your time tomorrow.
10:30. Okay, cool. Perfect.
That's what you guys will be on.
That's perfect.
But
Yeah, we had some just to talk about that process a little bit. Like we had some great ideas. Like we came over to my basement where I'm actually at right now, and plugged everything into this Fostex like multi-track recorder thing, and like mic'd everything and all this, and then like we did the first take, which was like so solid. It was like, yeah,
we
that
had
was
multiple
good.
we had multiple angles too. We had all of our
Yeah.
phones set in multiple angles and with all intent to take it all, and I was gonna edit it all and make it look really good, right? So continue, Chris.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. So that was the plan. And
That was the plan.
every single phone cut off after like 2 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever. And it was like, why? So we all cleared up all this room on our phones. We're like, all right, delete this, delete that. Our phones are full. Oh, also we turned on airplane mode. So I don't know if that has something to do with it. But eventually we get to a point, it's like the third or fourth time we're doing this. And I'm just like, all right, my phone's working. Let's just hook it up there and record this whole goddamn thing. And it's like
Yeah. And we were having problems with some of the mics. Like one of the condenser mics just wasn't picking your guitar up at all. So
not at all. Yeah. So like the whole like Fostex thing, we're just like, nope, that's gone. So what you're hearing is literally just if you were a phone in the corner of the room, that's what you're gonna hear.
Yeah.
well, it sounded good. I mean, I like I said, I've listened to it, so.
We tried. Our original intent was to make it look and sound better than it is. But after 3 or 4 failed attempts and nothing working properly, we literally like, well, fuck it. We're just gonna put Chris's phone here and do it. And we did. I think we actually said something on there. We're like, if this phone shuts off again, we're done.
Yeah, we're done. Yeah, that's what you said.
Yeah, we were like, this is the last time we're trying it. It was so frustrating.
We're doing it for the tots.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. We pulled through for the tots.
Well,
we
again,
pulled through, man. It's yeah.
Yeah, well, again, I truly appreciate it. You guys are badass, and I truly appreciate you guys coming on tonight to help promote the show and to promote you guys' new album in February. And I'd love to have you back closer to February when it drops too. So let's arrange for that.
Oh, absolutely.
You guys are, like I
100%
said, you
down
guys
for
are
that.
amazing, and I truly appreciate what you guys did for me for tomorrow.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having us, Derek.
Hey, not a problem, guys. You guys, like I said, you guys are awesome. Good luck with the single release next week, and hopefully we'll talk again soon.
All right.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, guys. You have a good one now. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
too, bud.
Cheers. Later.
Peace.
Later.
All right, guys, and that's it. That's our Thursday. Tomorrow night, come back here, 6 p.m. East, 3 p.m. West, for the Toys for Tots charity concert, featuring these guys that were just on. But again, we'll see you tomorrow. Stay happy, stay healthy, and as always, stay fucking heavy. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.